afternoon, guys, and happy Wednesday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, I told you I could not get on that Disney Plus, or that I shouldn't have been allowed on it. Like, Jack has been on it. He's been watching the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And he's really been the main person that's been using it. Today I went into the living room and my mom had it up on the PS4. She was watching in the living room. And she was watching this, like, I think it's like a docuseries. It only had 2 episodes. The way they left it, I think, is supposed to be like, from my understanding, is that Disney's doing it where they don't release episodes like in bulk, you know, like the whole series all at one time like most other streaming services do. I believe that they're releasing the episodes like either once a week or like something like that. I would think it's kind of, I'm gonna guess it's once a week because, right, the streaming service has only been out for a week now, and they had the 2nd episode of this, I think it was called the Imagineering or something like that. And it's basically just like a documentary sort of style series where they're talking about Disney, mainly like the Disney parks, and they had kind of covered mainly up until like the 80s, I think, in the first 2 episodes, and it's really good, guys. Honestly, I have a huge soft spot for Disney. I'm sure a lot of people do, but for me, I love the history and the you know, even, you know, the mystery behind a lot of Disney things and stuff like that. But I love, like, I love history in general, but especially Disney. Like, I have always loved you know, just like about the parks and, you know, where Walt Disney came from and stuff like that, and how he literally built what is now like an empire, you know, pretty much. And it's crazy, but you know, just all of that. And I learned a lot, actually. I don't remember where I was reading it, but I think I was reading like some articles and stuff like that, a few different ones about just like his early years. I've watched a lot of, actually, documentaries, probably the most documentaries that I've watched about Disney in general. A lot of those were about the parks, but I know, like, in the early animation, I was reading a lot of articles about that, and I just find it very, very interesting, and especially, like, you know, just a lot of the pioneering that went into, like, that Walt Disney, you know, pioneered so much of, again, not only just in animation and, you know, all that kind of stuff, but just so much that then ended up, you know, rolling over into the parks, which ended up being, you know, huge in, you know, all the different types of, like, the animatronics and stuff like that. Like, those were big and huge, and just revolutionizing so much of, you know, just that industry as well. And so that's why I just think it's so cool, and to learn about all that stuff. And of course, like, those early years and stuff like that are probably some of my favorite. The 40s, 50s, 60s, between sort of like that era, probably my favorite. So just a lot of Disney was booming, kind of, I guess, at that time, and taking off. So I really like that. But anyways, I was watching that documentary. I came in the living room, my mom had just started watching it. Was just like a few minutes in the first episode and was like, "You want to watch this with me?" I was like, "Oh, sure." And I got into the rabbit hole, and not even on Disney movies or old Disney series, you know, and stuff like that, like the TV shows and everything like that. No, I got into watching documentaries on Disney. I was watching, like I said, that series that had 2 episodes in it. Then I ended up watching a different documentary that was about kind of when the Walt Disney Animation Company ended up going through like a big like animation fallout, sort of. It was really tough for animation at that time, and then kind of how they got over it and all that. I think it was called Waking Sleeping Beauty. And it was a really good one too. It was a little bit slower. I liked the series that they had put on, but this one was pretty good too. And then I ended up watching the, I don't know what it was called. It was a Star Wars documentary that I was watching after that, which that one was stinking long. It was like 2.5 hours. I was actually really surprised that I sat through the whole thing, but I found it just so fascinating too. Like George Lucas, and again, his pioneering in the 70s with all of the, you know, just the first Star Wars movie really, and all of that, you know, special effects and stuff like that. I love, that's the other thing too, is that I love movies, and so you know, the history of the movies is also like super cool to me. So I was watching that as well, which, like I said, was really long, but it took you through literally all of the main six like Star Wars movies. The first one's not the ones that are coming out like now, but it mainly focuses on like the first startup, and the first one that's probably like an hour almost worth of the movie, and then the second two are like maybe the second hour of the movie, and then the or documentary, and then the last half hour is probably about like the other three that ended up coming out in like the 90s, 2000s. So yeah, that was it was very long. So I watched that, and then I watched which was just one of the suggested ones, I watched the Marvel Building a Universe, I think it was called, which again, that one was actually short. It was only like 45 minutes, and it didn't go into a lot of great detail, but honestly guys, I would stinking love it if they would do like a super expanded version of that, and do like a docuseries on like either or like the Lucasfilms and like the Marvel movies too. I would love that. Like, I would be in seriously like nerd heaven if they did that. If they dove into like each movie sort of in its own, like, again, like mini not docu-series, but like each episode of a docu-series. I think that would be so cool, and just like kind of like with the mindset, because this one was, I liked that one, but again, it was only 45 minutes. I felt like it went by super quick, and I think it was an older one they ended up adding, so it wasn't like one that was specifically for Disney Plus, because it only goes up to, I think, like Age of Ultron, like the second phase. So obviously there's been a lot more since then. I would love that though, if they would just go into more of like, you know, behind the scenes, like a director's, you know, sort of thing, and just again from like the behind the scenes kind of aspect of it, and how it's playing into now the grand scheme of things. So cool too to see how, again, some of that stuff, like when it first started, and that's what I just think is so cool, is that like so many of these, you know, like producers and directors and, you know, these people that had visions for these things, that like how they started and how they were so small, and how, like, you know, they could barely get by and all this kind of stuff, and how they just made it. And, you know, especially in film, it is such a toss-up whether or not it is gonna be something that is phenomenal, or whether or not it's like something that you're gonna take a gamble on and it's not, and it's a flop, you know. And so that's why I like some of the, you know, hearing it firsthand from like those people that made it, and again, you know, like from Disney aspect, from Lucasfilms, from you know, what was I saying, Marvel as well, you know, especially with the Marvel Studios, you know, like that whole thing is just, to me, like, wow, like I want to know more about how it started, because Marvel's been, you know, 10 plus years going on now or whatever. When the first movie came out, Iron Man came out in 2008, I think, 2008, 2009, whatever it was. And then, you know, that those first few movies and stuff like that, getting back though to that, you know, how, you know, seeing that and it not really, you know, being something that they knew was going to take off, and it just did, is, you know, pretty amazing. Like, I want to go back in time to that and see that, even though, you know, 10 years ago wasn't, you know, insanely long, but still, you know, something that's just, it's dominating right now in you know, film and everything like that. And so you know, I want to see more of that, and how, you know, it came about more, and how it started and all that kind of stuff. I think it would just, like I said, really cool just to do like a docu-series. I think that would be something that's really neat to have on the Disney Plus as well. Anyways though, guys, so yeah, like I said, I got wrapped up into watching all of that today, and I think though those were the main ones that I was looking at that I really wanted to watch. I'd love to like them have more like documentaries and stuff like that about like the animation, people at Disney again, or any of those other branches sort of the big Disney tree, you know, that's in there. I think would be so cool. There are some, you know, they have National Geographic on there as well, and there is some, you know, that doesn't even have to be Disney, but I do obviously want to watch all the movies and everything, but even to their, you know, I like the National Geographic, but I'm not a huge fan of animal films. I'm not a huge fan of, but more of, again, the history, which they do have on National Geographic. So I thought they had something about like Easter Island. They had, you know, a couple other ones too. I think it was something about the pyramids or desert or something like that. I don't know. But there was just a lot of like other ones that were on there that are more like, I like watching the Science Channel, which, like I said, I think I might have mentioned this too before. I don't know why the Science Channel tends to have more about history, it feels like, than the History Channel does. Like the History Channel always seems like American Pickers is on, and I honestly don't love watching that. It's too reality TV. I just want to know more, like, you know, the history and see things like, you know, almost from back in the day, or a recreation, or, you know, being able to see things as they stand today, the pyramids, you know, that kind of stuff. I love, those are my favorite. And so I'm sure with having that, there'll be some stuff on there that I can watch as well from that National Geographic standpoint. And like I said, I might try and get some of those ones out of the way before I get into the great big, you know, rabbit hole of all of the other Disney stuff that's in there. Be kind of just hanging on the edge right now of that rabbit hole. I haven't fallen in yet, but I've gotten really close so far. I now haven't signed it on my Mac because I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch something in my room too, because unfortunately, I think I was telling you guys, my TV, I don't have like an app for it on my TV, so I would have to probably do it off my Xbox, which isn't a huge big deal to me. It's just I hate having to turn it on and then switch over in my TV to have it on, you know, the different station or whatever, whereas normally I just watch the stuff from the apps on my smart TV anyway, and I'd have to like turn on the Xbox, wait for it to do its thing, and you know, and all that stuff. So sometimes it's a little frustrating just, again, having to wait for that, and it would be more convenient having it just off of the app on my TV, but I don't know that that's gonna happen because I think it's set in stone, like the apps that are on there already. But it is weird though, because I think when I first got it, they got rid of one of the ones I think that was on there now. It's not on there anymore. So, I don't know. But I was looking because I looked for it and I didn't see it, and then I was like, oh, did they get rid of it? I think it was like a CBS or ABC or something that had an app on there that was already on the TV, and now it's not there anymore, at least that I saw. So I don't know. But anyways, guys, I will have some fun film footage for you guys tomorrow because we are doing something fun for my birthday. So that will probably be in tomorrow's vlog, but I probably will not end up bringing my camera. I'll probably end up recording a lot off of my phone. So anyways, though, that is in tomorrow's vlog. I will see you guys all tomorrow. If you guys did enjoy today's vlog, make sure you guys give it a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.